Hi, Jessica. You're just in time. I have a great topic to discuss. Want to talk about how neural networks are trained?
Hi. Of course, I'm always ready to hear something new. I know that a neural network is capable of learning, not just performing pre programmed actions like regular software.
Exactly. Neural networks learn from examples. These examples form a training data set. For instance, if the neural network needs to classify images, it is shown a lot of images with labels that allow it to determine what is shown in the image, a cat or a dog.
So it just looks at the images and remembers what's on each one?
Not exactly. The neural network doesn't just memorize, it analyzes the examples and learns to make correct conclusions. Let's break down how this happens. First, the data must be prepared for the neural network. It is cleaned of noise and split into two sets, a training set and a testing set. The training set is used for training, while the testing set is used to check the network's performance.
And how does the actual training of the neural network begin?
Once the data is prepared, the neural network starts by initializing the weights. These are values that regulate how strongly the neurons interact with each other. Initially, these weights are random, so the network doesn't know how to solve the problem yet.
Got it. What happens next?
Next, the neural network performs a forward pass. It receives the input data, and this data moves through all the layers of the network until it reaches the output. For example, for the image classification task, the network might output the probability that the image is either a cat or a dog.
So it makes a prediction but can be wrong?
Exactly. After the network makes its prediction, the error needs to be evaluated using testing. This is done using a loss function, which measures how far the prediction is from the correct answer. The larger the error, the worse the model performs.
And how does it fix the error?
To fix the error, a method called backpropagation is used. The neural network analyzes how each weight affected the error and adjusts them to minimize the error. This is similar to how we learn from our mistakes.
How does it adjust the weights?
This is done using a technique called gradient descent. The essence is that the network updates the weights to reduce the error. For example, if the error is large, the weights are adjusted in such a way that the network will give a more accurate result next time.
I see. And does it continue learning like this?
Yes, the process repeats many times. With each step, the network predicts results more accurately. This continues until the error becomes small enough or until a specified number of steps is completed.
Sounds interesting. But how does it know what to focus on? What data is important to it?
Good question. For training a neural network, we need what are called features. These are the key pieces of data that the network focuses on. For example, in a task where we need to determine the area of a house, important features might include the length and width of the walls. The more accurately we define these features, the easier it is for the neural network to learn.
What happens if there are too many features?
That's where the difficulty arises. If there are too many features, the neural network can get confused and it becomes harder to learn. That's why it's important to select the right features and not overwhelm the system with unnecessary information.
I've heard there are different methods for training neural networks, right?
Yes, that's correct. There are several types of learning. For example, supervised learning, where the data is labeled and we know the correct answer for each example. The network's task is to predict the answers correctly. Then there's unsupervised learning, where the network must find patterns and relationships in the data on its own.
Wow, it's like someone finding patterns without knowing the correct answers in advance.
Exactly. Moreover, there's another interesting method called reinforcement learning. This is when the neural network interacts with the environment and receives rewards or punishments, depending on how well it acts. It's very similar to training pets. Essentially, the network learns through interaction with its environment, like in games or robotics.
That sounds really cool. So, a neural network can do more than just classify images. It can handle more complex tasks?
Exactly. Neural networks can solve a wide range of tasks, such as speech recognition, creating new ideas, controlling robots, and even playing games. They're becoming more powerful and versatile tools. This is one of the most exciting aspects of neural networks. For example, the same network can solve different tasks using a technique called transfer learning. It learns one task and then uses that knowledge to solve another similar task.
Ah, and there's also the genetic algorithm, like in nature.
Exactly. That's another fascinating concept. Where neural networks evolve, the best ones are selected, and a new generation is created that solves the task even better.
Wow, that sounds like science fiction. But now I understand how neural networks learn and solve problems. However, I'd like to dive deeper into the topic and learn more details. There are a lot of terms that I still don't fully understand.
Yes, training neural networks is truly an exciting topic, and we're only beginning to explore it. Next time we meet, we can go into more detail on all the learning processes.
Thanks, Liam. It's much clearer now.
Happy to help, Jessica. If you have any more questions, don't hesitate to reach out.